There's one thing that I notice, and I don't know, maybe this is uniquely you, but I don't think people really truly understand. Where do you think we would have been if the travel ban wasn't in effect? Where would we have been if 10 days after the first case? I think that one decision was probably the best from the beginning, but I don't hear anybody on the other side of the aisle say, I don't like Donald Trump, but that was a smart idea. Probably not only bought us time, probably saved tens of thousands of Americans from contracting the disease. That was a good call. I mean, are we that divided as a country you can't acknowledge, or you kill Soleimani? You can't acknowledge killing Soleimani, leading state sponsor of terror, Iran. He leads the state sponsor of terror. He killed Americans in Iraq. The divide is pretty intense.
Well, you don't hear it too much. You'll hear it from Republicans. You'll hear it from some Democrats. But no, we would have had tremendous death had we not acted early. And our country's getting great credit for that. Forget me. Our country is getting great. But it was a good decision. Hey, when I made it, I would say that's a big decision. You cut off China and the people coming in, and you're talking about tens of thousands of people. No, we would have had death all over the place, Sean. You know that.
So that was Sean Hannity. Just his lips are permanently stitched to Donald Trump's big, fat behind. That was the biggest lob of a softball question in the history of COVID questionings. I mean, the entire interview was kind of a joke because Donald Trump just reiterates what he says every day at his press briefings. So it was kind of like, okay, there's nothing new. But the one thing that Donald Trump and Fox News and the alt-right and conservative media is holding on to is, well, Donald Trump closed off travel from China, and that saved all of our lives. Where would we be? Where would we be if he didn't do that? You guys, we just became the country with the most COVID-19 cases in the world today. We surpassed 81,000. Like over 1,000 people have died. Like our stock market is tumbling. And don't be fooled by the last few days, right? With all this stimulus talk. The jobless numbers that are going to come out over the next month are going to be terrible. We already beat estimates. 3.3 million jobless claims today. Terrible. Right? And then you have story after story after story of physicians and nurses not having the equipment because this administration didn't have the forethought to say, okay, like back in January, this could be a pandemic. We need to get all the PPE ready, right? We need to have it there. We need to have it overstocked. We need to have all the governors get together and communicate and be ready. No, that didn't happen. They're doing it now. But that didn't happen way back when this all could have been, it didn't have to get this intense. There's stories of doctors, nurses using trash bags as protective equipment. And in those hospitals, in one of those hospitals where they're using trash bags, one of the medical workers died and they were in their 40s. Like that's where we are, Sean Hannity and Donald Trump. That's where we are. And you, Donald Trump, closing off travel from China, like, okay, maybe that reduced the swell a little bit, but what did you do for the months before that, man? That could reduce the swell a lot of bit. Like, you did nothing. Politico had a story today. You ignored a 70-page report that was created in light of Ebola on how to respond to this. Where were you, man? Like the NSC had a report, a playbook. It was called the playbook. And you ignored it. So Donald Trump, man, if you think that we're just going to hold on to this idea that like, oh man, well, he closed off travel from China, so this could have been a whole lot worse. No, man. No, man. We're not going to let you pull the wool over our eyes with COVID-19 and your bogus travel blockade nonsense.